And
And welcome to the Great Race 2026. The Mother Road will be our goal, and we'll look forward to seeing you all in Springfield,
you always have to stop
Illinois.
and think whether,
Springfield, Illinois.
yeah, there's a few
Unless,
Springfields like
unless some of
The
you
Simpsons.
coming to Springfield, Missouri for the spring rally.
Right.
Um, we are Steve and Janet Hedke. We are the rookie coordinators. So we are the ones who match rookie teams up with a uh, veteran team to help bring you along and acclimate you to what the great race looks like. And hopefully we'll be doing that over the next 2 hours. That's the goal for this call. And we will have the chat open at any time so you can be putting in your questions along the way, but save live questions till the end if you would. So on the agenda, we're going to be going through just some basic housekeeping. And then we have our great race director, Brad Phillips, on the line, and he's going to make a couple of announcements and just introduce himself to you. We'll talk about the roles of the driver and navigator and how to prepare yourself and your car before you leave. And what will happen when you arrive in Springfield? There's a lot of activities that they've planned. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we'll talk about what the day in the life of a great racer looks like. And it will be Groundhog Day for 9 straight days. It will be great fun, but a lot of work, and you will be very exhausted by the end in a good way. And then we'll go through some course instructions to give you an idea of what they look like and how to interpret them and how to follow those. And then there's a new process for time allowances that we're going to discuss in detail. We'll talk about some special circumstances, and then we'll be available to answer your questions. So, Ken, why don't you get started with some housekeeping for us?
Hi, welcome. This is Ken Spencer, and hopefully I can facilitate this for us. But as we go along, if you have questions, first of all, you can post things in the chat, and I'll try to get that to them. There'll be plenty of Q&A at the end if needed, so write it down so you don't forget if you have to. If for some reason you can't digitally raise your hand, that's usually you go down and you go to the where they've hidden it again and changed it. But you actually, believe it or not, in some of them you just raise your hand like that and it'll do it. But otherwise, you can go into the raise hand control. If we're gonna probably when it gets started here, we're gonna mute everybody. And then if you need to unmute yourself, go for it because otherwise we get chatter in the background. Other than that, Janet has done it so it's being recorded now, and that'll be available after the fact. So, and feel free to ask any questions about Zoom in there. If you don't have, we've got more waiting room people. Let's see. I think we are at a limit of 100, and we keep, if somebody leaves, we're getting another one in. So there may be some people that aren't coming in.
Oh, wow.
I think I have up to 500 that I'm permitted,
Oh,
so
okay.
we're good with
This
that.
seems to be good. Perfect. Well, and just go along. Again, you can ask specific questions in chat. I'll be happy to try to get it. If not, we'll forward it to Janet and Steve. Thank you again. Go for it.
All right, if
Thanks,
you'll
Ken.
advance the slide to Brad's lovely mug.
All the way to the mug is right there, Houston and
All right,
Brad.
Is this my cue?
that is your cue.
All
Go.
right. Well, it's really nice to see everybody out here. I'm Brad Phillips. I'm the director of Great Race. I'm the guy in the hat, and you can also tell from seeing me right here. And Houston Gibson, who many of you have already spoken to, is there on the passenger side. That was us in October on a Northeast Rally Club event. So there are regional clubs that do this sort of thing and really help feed into what Great Race and Spring Rally is all about. So Houston is our manager of events and experiences, and he's been doing this longer than I have. I came on as director of Great Race in October of last year. That's 2025. Prior to that, my experience has been as a driver, and I've been doing these kinds of races since about 2003. And I've raced most notably a 1916 Hudson Speedster that is way above my pay grade, owned by the Stahl Automotive Foundation, and Dan Stahl was the navigator. And I have given all that up to help run the race, create new experiences, and really, really, really just have a great time with everybody. So I'm super excited to be here. There are fully 1/3 of the 150 or so teams that we have running in Great Race for 2026 on Route 66 are rookies. So you have to understand you are all in good company. And Steve and Janet are the best of the best. And all of our goal is to make you feel comfortable with the competition, to know that there are three things that you should do, and in this order. You should have fun and make friends. This is an unbelievable experience. It's an absolute bucket list to be able to participate and compete in something like this. But above all, have fun. Try not to get lost. If you follow the instructions, even if you're not exactly on time, if you're just kind of where you're supposed to be, you're going to get there. It's going to be great. And the absolute third thing is make sure you're dead nuts on time all the time. All these things will grow over time together. But if you do number 1 and 2, number 3 will come much easier, and the fun will just build and build over the years. And we hope every one of you, as a rookie, is going to come on and be a sportsman and a veteran with us over many, many years. So I don't have a lot of other comments. I'm proud to be here. I'm happy to be here. And thank you all so much for trusting in us for such a great time with us on Route 66. So, Steve and Janet, I'll give it back to you.
Thanks, okay, Brad. So we're going to first clarify what is the Great Race. It is a time, speed, endurance, precision driving rally. It's not time, speed, distance. It's time, speed, endurance. That's for you and the car. It's also an annual family reunion of a community of car lovers. It's an opportunity to see the best of America. We're going to see some amazing scenic back roads in small towns. It will be an adventure. And you have the potential to earn awards, recognition, respect, maybe some cash, but it is the most fun you can have in an old car. So we're going to start out by defining the roles of the driver and the navigator, and I will hand that over to my driver.
Hi, guys. As a driver,
next slide.
The roles of the driver and navigator. Thank you for that, because I can read that easier than. Okay. You've already heard about the idea of this time-wise speedometer and holding exact speeds. The idea is that if you hold your speed and follow the directions and do the directions in order, you'll be on time. And the driver's job, people will say that drivers are stupid. It's not really true. It's just that 85% of your concentration ability is on that speedometer. So you want to try to mount it up as high as you can, so with your peripheral vision, you can see the traffic down the road. You want to be able to practice before you get to the race. When you do your performance chart, which we'll talk about, you want to drive the car the same way. And it doesn't matter how fast or slow your car is, as long as you accelerate and stop at the same rate of speed every time, so that the navigator's chart is accurate. Take some practice, but after a while you get the feel of what the car wants to do. And don't try to do it 100% throttle, 100% brake every time, because the car will break, you won't finish, and to finish is to win. So you want to make sure that you take care of your car to the best of your ability. When the navigator tells you to do something, don't argue. The navigator has the brain power on staying on course. You're trying to hold the speed. If you're thinking to yourself, well, no, I don't think I'm going as fast as I should, don't do that. Don't change anything. Let the navigator tell you what speed you should be driving, and just do that. You want to be able to look down the road. It's really easy to get fixated on the speedometer, and you'll be chasing it. You can get what I call a driver-induced oscillation. Too fast, too slow, too fast, too slow, too fast, too slow. You're gas, brake, gas, brake. You want to do it as fluid as possible. If you're like 3 miles an hour over the speed limit when you look at the speedometer, or the speed you're supposed to go, go 3 miles an hour below the speed you're supposed to go for about the same amount of time you were off, and then back to where you're supposed to be. That's not something the navigator is going to do. That's a driver's job. And you can make those corrections. If the navigator says you're off by 2 miles an hour, you can say, yeah, I'm correcting. I'm going to be right back to it. And you want to be able to look down the road. Sometimes the lane you're in will disappear and you have to merge to the left. You don't want to wait to the last second to do that. You want to be able to hold your speed as you transition into a lane. So be aware of what's ahead of you. So if you have to make maybe a stop that you're not planning on, let the navigator know you're going to have to stop, so the navigator can get the stopwatch out and time that. But you can warn the navigator ahead of time that I'm not going to be able to make what we're supposed to do. Communication, the way we work it, and other teams do it differently. She will tell me the speed I'm supposed to go. I will repeat the speed. And throughout the time that I'm holding that speed, I'll occasionally say, okay, I'm holding 35. And she'll confirm that, yes, 35 is what you're supposed to do. Because again, driver's stupid. And it's really easy to forget by staring at that speedometer what speed you're supposed to be going. If it creeps off a little bit, you look at it and go, am I fast or slow? I don't remember the speed. Okay, what speed? The navigator needs to know that the driver could be asking that question repeatedly. Yeah, I just told you. No, keep telling the driver the speed they're supposed to go. It helps the driver. Physical preparation. This race, if you're on the Route 66 run for the big race, we've done this before. And since we live in California, we know what the desert is like in the middle of summer. And there was one time that we stopped and no one knows how hot it was because all the thermometers were pegged at 125. If your car has a problem with vapor lock, or more importantly, you have a problem with vapor lock, make sure that you hydrate yourself in the morning before you're thirsty. You've got to make sure that your brain is functioning and sharp and do all those things that you would be doing if you were going on a hike, let's say. And make sure that you can get the, what's the best word for it? If you know that you have an issue with something, like if you're taking pills or you're an old guy like me and there's things that you have to do to prepare yourself for sitting for an hour and a half, do that ahead of time, and that'll make it easier for you to hang in there while you're driving. And then the most important thing is that you guys win and lose as a team. It's a three-legged stool, the way it used to be described to us. You've got the car, the driver, and the navigator. All three have to function correctly in order to do this well. So if one of you makes a mistake, the other one has to just help you correct it. Most of the time we can fix mistakes. And if you can't, then you throw that leg away, you get throwaway legs and you go on to the next one. Don't focus on it and don't get mad at each other. You have to just let it drop and keep rallying, because the rally's not over. It's a long event. And the mistake you make here 2 days later doesn't matter anymore. So try not to get too upset and preserve the camaraderie within the car as best you can.
Okay, so going on to navigating 101. Generally, you're going to have a whole bunch of stuff on your lap. My lap board looks like this. It's got room. I'm left-handed, so I've got it here. I've got my route instructions and my order of start on the left. I've got my clock. It is hung around my neck, but I have a piece of Velcro there so I can just stick it there so I'm not fumbling around looking for it. Pens, highlighters, all that stuff is right in front of me. Some people prefer to take their clock and to stick it right in front of them on the dashboard of the car. Whatever works for you. But you want to make sure that you've got a clock that you can read clearly. There are a number of different rally clocks that are available. One of our great racers, Ron Rowland, has a company where he makes these. It's got a movable bezel, so it will keep track of your short periods of time that you're trying to keep track of. So I found that one very helpful for me personally, but you can literally go to Walmart and get a $10 clock uh, off the display
Yeah.
and it'll work just fine for you. You want to make sure it's got a sweep second hand, and preferably the second hand is as close to the face of the clock as possible so that you don't have any parallax. But you want a stopwatch that has time of day as well as the stopwatch function, because this is a backup clock for you. So you've got your time of day clock, you've got your stopwatch, and you may not use your Apple Watch. It has to be an analog wristwatch. The driver may have one, the navigator may have one, but nothing with any advanced electronic functions on it. So your performance chart is something that you should all be working on to create. Ours has lots and lots and lots of numbers on it. We will talk to you a little further down in the presentation about how to create one. And there's a great tool that one of our racers has created that can help you to do that. Your best friend is the start order. They will give you this every day, and it will list all of the participants, what time the race starts for that day, what order the cars are in. And so you'll see who you follow, who's behind you. If you happen to get lost, you're going to be looking at this to see how to get back yourself back in order from where you started. So start order is critical to have at your right close to you, close to hand. And then, of course, your route instructions that you'll get every day. So those are your key tools that you're going to use as a navigator.
Okay, on to route instructions.
On to route instructions. Your route instructions on the next slide start out looking nice and clean and pretty. By the end of the day, they aren't. And we're going to go through those turn by turn at the end. We've got a sample route instruction to follow. And so we will explain what each one of these little hieroglyphics mean and how to navigate those.
Each day, when we start, we have a rally school at the beginning, and the director of competition will go through all of the instructions that you're going to see when you go out on your very first rally. So he will have gone through step by step, show you which ones they are before you get out on the course for the first time.
Okay, so another key thing that you need to work on as a team is your communication. So on the next slide, just to give you some examples, you're going to be coming across a lot of road signs that look like this, some that don't even look as normal as that. And you'll need to be able to describe as the navigator to your driver what it is that you're looking for. Some of these will have a mileage number underneath it, so it might be a right curve 35. Some people might call this a easy right turn, or a curve warning sign. But basically, you just want to determine what it is that you're going to call them so that your driver knows what it is that you're talking about. So you have what we call a right curve, a hard left curve. Some people may call that a dead man curve or a 90-degree curve. The next one, side road to the left. The following one we call a stair step. Some people may call a chair. Some people may call a double dead man. But whatever it is that you call it, make sure that you understand what your terminology is going to be so that you're communicating well on that. The next one is either a snake or a squiggle. There's actually two different ones. That one is a left snake. There's also a right snake where the arrow is pointing the opposite direction. But as far as we're concerned, it's a squiggle. But make sure that you have that consistent terminology that you're using between the two of you.
And that's something you can do when you're out working on your performance chart before you get to the race. Okay, Ken.
All right, so Steve's going to tell you about a lot of things that you're going to need to do to prepare yourself and your car before you leave.
One of the things about Great Race is that you're basically on the clock until you leave the awards dinner and you're on your way home. You're thinking about how long it's going to take you to get to the start, when you have to do maintenance or repairs on the car, when you get it back in time to get it ready to go to the race. You're thinking in terms of um, how much my car, for example, tires. Almost everybody makes sure that they have new or as new tires from Coker Tire on their car, uh, just so they don't have to worry about punctures. Because if you have a flat tire while you're on the race, you're going to be late by however many minutes it takes you to change your tire. So almost everybody runs fresh tires. They never get close to 20,000 miles. Um, the stuff that you carry in the car with you, if you're a mechanic and you can work on your own car, service it, I recommend that you only bring the stuff that you need that you can repair on the side of the road. Don't carry a spare engine in the trunk; it won't help you. But if you water, oil, um, I usually bring a tire inflator can, if that will get me back on the road quickly. Basic tools, something to diagnose electrical stuff with, like a simple probe. Um, a lot of guys carry a jump box. I found that useful from time to time. Brake fluid, uh, just in case. You don't want to have that be a problem. The list depends on you and your car, what you're capable of doing on the side of the road. Remember that the sweep truck will be coming along. If the car is just broken, you get it out of the way of your other competitors that are coming by. And at the end, Steve and Vicky will come by and let the truck know where you are. And the truck will come by and pick you up, bring you in to the hotel at the end of the day. And then you have, if you can, all night and fix it. Almost every night out in the hotel parking lot, there are folks working on their car to get it ready for the next day. Some of the competitors will have a similar car to yours. They may have a spare part that they have that you don't have. If you have a support crew, you're not going to be able to contact them until you're off the clock. But if you're on the sweep truck, you can take your cell phone and call your support crew and say, hey, I need one of these, stop by O'Reilly's and pick one up for me, and I can install it in the parking lot. There's a lot of that goes on. All the folks around you will be happy to help you. And then you want to talk about performance chart here?
Not yet.
Oh, okay, because it says performance chart. Yeah. The decal application. In the past, the race has sent out decals in advance. In spring, you can correct me, Brad, if I got this wrong, but when we go to Springfield for the regional race, they may give you the stickers for the big race if you're doing both. But there's an absolute order to put the decals on. Go ahead. Okay. There's an order that the decals go in, just like in NASCAR. There's a particular position that the sponsor has paid to put the sticker on your car. If you got a really nice paint job, make sure you got a good wax job on it, because these stickers can get pretty sticky, and you can get them off with a heat gun. But if you have a really nice paint job, you're going to be putting the stickers on anyway. You have to have the stickers on to get through tech. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
If you've run the race before and you've got old sponsor stickers that are no longer sponsors, they will ask you to remove those. So they'll be very careful about which decals you're allowed to have on your car, which you're not. For those who have run the race multiple times, those little ace stickers that you get for perfect arrival at a checkpoint, people have 20, 30 years worth of ace stickers all over their cars. You can't even see what color the car is anymore, but you have the option to keep your ace stickers on as long as you want to.
And that's all in the rule book as well. I'll tell you all that stuff.
All right, onto your speedometer calibration.
Okay. Speedometer calibration. This is the first performance thing you do every day, and you do it every day. You would think that 35 is 30 or 50 is 50, no matter what happens, but there are variations from day to day where the director of competition may have done something or not, but we have had times when we thought our speedometer was right on, and then the next day it's fractionally off. So every the first thing we do once we get out onto the course is a calibration run. And are we talking about installing the instrument?
Yes.
Okay. So if you have a TimeWise, and it looks like this. Now, everybody should have theirs by now. If you don't, Jack still has some, and he can get you one pretty quickly. But it's very important to have a speedometer that you can calibrate. You'll need to do it every day. The instructions are real simple. On the back, you'll see 4 little holes back there. There are 4 wheels in there to do a fine tuning on your speed. And we will run like on a 4-lane highway, run steady 50 miles an hour. Road sign on the right will be in your route instructions. That's where you start your calibration.
But we'll talk about that later. So
Okay.
right now we're talking about installing it.
Okay. So when you install the TimeWise, you need to be able to take it out so that you can get to the back of it to adjust those wheels on the back. So don't mount it in the dash and make something real pretty, because you're going to have to take it out at least once a day. So most of us like to have it up high on the dashboard where your peripheral vision has the speedometer right in it. You don't want to be looking over to the center or down below where the speedometer is. You want to keep it somewhere in your line of sight so you can drive and watch the speedometer at the same time. The power source for the speedometer, some people like to hook it up to a separate battery that is not in the circuit on the car. Some cars will produce an electromagnetic pulse which will throw the speedometer off, in which case you want a dedicated like motorcycle or tractor battery to power your speedometer. You just have to remember that every night when you get in, to take your battery up to your room and charge it for the next day and hook it back up. We have it hooked up to our vehicle's electrical system, so it comes on with the key. That way I don't forget about the battery. The trick with that is that you don't want to turn the car off while it's still rolling, because whatever speed you're showing on the speedometer when you turn it off, that's where it's going to be. And you could be at a restart and look at it and say, it's saying 7 miles an hour and we're supposed to be at 0. And then you have to recalibrate it by unscrewing the face of the speedometer and moving the needle back to 0. And that can be...
it takes a long time.
It takes longer than you want. The initial calibrations in the instructions for the instrument, or you can go on the TimeWise website and look it up. But you measure 5 rotations of the wheel on the ground by doing a chalk line or a chalk mark. The total inches to the nearest 10th as you can is your factor to enter on the back of your TimeWise using the small screwdriver, adjust the dials. The mark the top and bottom of the backside of a speedometer. Ask me why. I once had the speedometer upside
it looks
down.
like this.
You can't tell sometimes. So you want to make sure you have it right side up when you put in your calibration, or you'll go way the wrong direction, and that'll be evident right away. But every day you're going to be doing your speedo calibration run. You got to pull out the speedometer, turn it around, tell the navigator what the numbers say in the back. She'll say, oh, we're running fast, we're running slow, we're going to make the adjustment and give you the number. I have a little flashlight that I stick in my mouth so I can read the numbers clearly on the inside. Sometimes it's hard. The numbers are small for an old guy with glasses. So you want to be able to make sure that you have those numbers exactly right, read them back a couple of times so you're both convinced that you've got the right number in the back of the speedometer. And if you do it correctly, that thing's going to be dead accurate all day long. And any variation from top performance is going to be your ability to hold the speed.
So when you do your speedometer calibration each day during the race, you'll be following that course. And at the end of the calibration, which may be 35 minutes, 40 minutes of driving at a consistent speed, you will know how many seconds early or late you are at the end of that time period. And then what you need to do is to convert that into clicks to adjust your speedometer. And by dividing your speedometer factor by 3,600. Our speedometer factor right now is 4057. And if I divide that by 3,600, that gives me something like 1.13. So that tells me for every second I am off, I'm going to change it basically one click. But once it gets up to like 9 seconds, then I'm going to make it 10 clicks. So that will let me know how to adjust that correctly. At the very, very beginning, before you are actually on the clock, I use my calculator. And so you can do that as long as you're not actually on the clock. So you can make it very, very accurate by converting the actual time to the correct time and then multiplying that times the factor. That'll give you your new factor. So you can do that when you're first running your calibration when you get to the race event, but you can't do it when you're on the clock. You've got to do it manually on the clock.
And one more thing about setting up the speedometer, it uses a magnetic pulse. We put magnets on the left front wheel because that's the closest to the center line of the road and more closely matches what the director of competition has laid out when they did the route. Everybody does it on the left front wheel. You'll put a bracket or something that will hold the probe close to the magnet and try to keep it away from any heat sources. The magnets are held on by just plain old JB Weld, and the magnets you can get at hardware store like Lowe's or Home Depot actually have the magnets that we use in stock. And you put magnets on the spare as well, just in case you have to change that tire. Ask me how I know about that. And some people will put magnets on all the wheels in case you have to rotate tires around due to abnormal wear.
And Andy, to answer your question, what is the daily calibration like? We will go through the sample course instruction at the end, and that will show you what that process looks like.
It's very straightforward.
It's easy, really easy. All right, let's go on to how to create a performance chart. This is critical. You must have a performance chart. And what this will do is this will tell you how many seconds or portions of a second you lose by doing certain maneuvers. You will, the way that the course is set up, it assumes that you will go from 0 to the assigned speed immediately, or from the assigned speed to 0 immediately at a stop. It assumes that you will make turns at speed without having to brake, slow down at the turns. So you know that through the course of your normal driving, you're going to be not able to live up to that ideal. So you will lose a few seconds by accelerating, by decelerating, by turning. And your chart that you will create will let you know at all the various speeds how many seconds or portions of seconds that you lose by making those maneuvers. And that will be different for every individual car, every individual person based on the performance of your car and how your driver drives it. The important thing is that your driver needs to drive it consistently, consistent acceleration, consistent braking, consistent turning. We recommend that you find when you're making a turn, that you hit an exact speed at the apex every time. We recommend 15 miles an hour at the apex of every turn. That way you can practice that consistency as you're creating your chart. So to start your chart, you just start from scratch. You're going to find a long, straight road, level, with little or no traffic. You want to be able to turn around safely at both ends. You're just going to mark a cone or telephone pole,
tree,
whatever works for your beginning and ending point. You want to be able to enter that course at up to 55 miles an hour and exit it at 55 miles an hour without any
going through the stop sign. Yeah.
Okay, so you just set up a start and an ending point, and you're going to be doing that at all of those speeds from 10 to 55 miles an hour. It will take you hours. It will take hours. So plan on just setting aside a Saturday and just going out and doing it. So you mark each end of the course, and then you run the course at speed So entering your start point at speed. So say you're doing 30 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, entering it, hit your stopwatch. And then as you exit it, hit the stopwatch again. That is your base. So at speed, you know it takes that long to run that course. Go back to the beginning at a stop, run the course again, get up to that 30 miles an hour, hit the stopwatch at the end. The difference between those two is your acceleration loss. So it's not the elapsed time that it takes you to get to 30 miles an hour. It's the difference in time between accelerating to speed or already being at speed. And you're going to do that for every one of those speeds from 10 to 55. 55 is new this year. And I recommend that you do it several times and then average each one of those. And so you'll have basically an average of all of those numbers. Once you have that, then you're going to do the next step, which in our case, go on to the next slide, Ken, is stop and go. So you've already got the acceleration. What we do is we enter at speed and then we stop and immediately start again. Get back to speed, stop, and start again. Get back up to speed, stop, and start again. So if I've got 3 stop and goes, I'm going to average those, and I will know now how what the length of time is that I've lost for a stop and go. I already know what my time is for the go, for the acceleration. If I just subtract that from the stop and go, now I've got the answer for my deceleration, for stopping. Now, other people have done this in a different way. Let's flip to the next screen real quick, Ken. One of our racers, Brandon Gregg, who is amazing, has created this chart. This was linked in the weekly newsletter number 32. And what he recommends is that you go through the entire course at speed and stop at the end. Well, you're going to have to do that 3 times as long than doing it my way, but that's an alternative. So there's different ways to do that, but I like to have the stop and go number because sometimes you'll encounter that on the road. There might be a car that's turning in front of you. It's like, we're going to do a stop and go. Okay, stop and go. And then you're back up to speed. And I know exactly how many seconds we've lost at stop and go because I've got that number on my chart.
Let me throw something in here real quick as a driver as you're doing this. Just to be clear on your visual picture of how setting up a chart works. You're not so concerned about the amount of distance between the 2 markers that you're using to set up your chart, except for the ability to stop after you pass the last one at 55. You need some runoff room, and you need to be able to turn around and go back and do it the other direction. The driver tends to stop more quickly than you accelerate. That's okay as long as you do it the same way every time. Doing the chart this way tells you, it builds into the factor how the driver is driving. As long as you're consistent, the amount of time for a stop and go will be the same every time. We use a technique when we stop, is when the car comes, pitches down, and then when it rolls back again, that's when she hits the stopwatch. That's how you know that's where you have stopped. It works for us. Other cars may be different, but the driver's role in creating the performance chart is that you have to drive it the same way all the time. If you're starting like on a hill, let's say that on the course, you know that you're pulling out at like 30 miles an hour and you've got a slight grade that you're going up, that may slow you down if you haven't practiced that. So the driver will anticipate that while she's counting down 3, 2, 1, I may lift up on the clutch at 1 and go, just because I'm anticipating it's going to be a little slower going up the hill. That's not something you can really calculate because it's going to be different every time you do it. But the driver can look at this and say, hey, this is downhill. I'm going to be going a lot faster up to my speed than I normally would. So I won't accelerate quite as hard, if that makes sense to everybody.
Okay, just if you back up one slide real quick, Ken, the third thing that you want to have on your chart is turns. And again, you want to be consistent in braking to that same speed at every turn. Again, we recommend 15. So as you're going through your course, you don't have a turn on your course, but what you can do is I'll say, okay, go down to 15. You'll go down to 15 and then accelerate back up. And you're back at speed, down to 15, and then speed up again back to speed. And so you'll average those just like you did the stop and goes, and that will give you your turn numbers for your chart. All right, let's go on to, again, this is the tool that Brandon has created. I highly recommend it. It's very, very well done. It will create a very good quality chart for you. So follow his directions, follow what I just told you, and you'll end up with a chart that will be very good for you. So you can see in our next slide, we started with something very simple in our olden days, and our chart now is it's more and more complicated every year. But you really don't need anything more than the one on your left, except it should go up to 55 instead of 50 now. Okay, next slide. Support crews are a fabulous thing. If you have the ability to have a support crew, it will lighten your load an amazing amount. But you can do the race on your own. You don't have to have a support crew. What they do is if you bring your car by trailer, they're going to be driving your truck and trailer from overnight stop to overnight stop. They may be checking you into your hotel. They may be schlepping your luggage around. They may be running errands for you. They may even do your laundry if they're really nice, like if it's your mom and dad. They have great race credentials. They can attend all of the official activities, except they can't be on the race route, so they won't be at the hosted lunches, but they will be there at the overnights. And they're just, it's a marvelous thing if that's something that works for your team, for your financial situation. Basically you're doubling the cost of gas and hotels by having a support crew. And so you just kind of have to work with them. It's like, okay, we will cover this if you'll cover this. It's sharing the excitement of the race with someone who maybe would be interested in a future year of doing that. We just happen to have a rookie team that we are mentoring who were our support crew a couple of years ago that just loved the race, and now they're doing it themselves.
So, and now we don't have a support crew.
Well,
the other thing is that if you're running the regional race, you don't need the support crew. There'll be a place to park your truck and trailer at the hotel. It'll be out and back to the same hotel each night, and you won't be putting your car back on the trailer until you're done. So you don't need one for the regional. For the big race where you're traveling 2,000 miles and your car doesn't hold enough luggage for you to have a clean shirt every day, the support crew can help. Or if, like Janet said, if you can get somebody who can share support crew duties, somebody who can take a suitcase for you, for example, you can work that out too. There are support crew instructions, like Janet said, and on the big race this year, they're going to have several stops for support crews that the racers aren't going to be able to do, which is really great. The support crews get to know each other and they start to have fun. And so the support crew job is not a thankless one. Actually, you get to go along on the deal and you get to go places and see things that the racers aren't going to.
And they can check into the hotel early and take a nap before we get there. Okay, going on to what to pack. Expect all kinds of weather. Again, on Route 66, it's going to be hot. It's going to be dry. But we have had thunderstorms. We've had hot and humid. We have driven through snow on the Great Race. Probably not going to happen this year. But you can expect cold. You can expect rain. There's always rain on the Great Race somewhere. If you've got an open car, you're going to get wet. People ask you, well, what do you do when it rains? We get wet. But you'll want sun protection. You'll want a hat with a wide brim. Make sure you've got drinking water in a cooler inside your car. Replenish it every day. It's not going to help you if it's in the trunk. Digital camera. You cannot use your cell phone when you're on the clock. And your navigator is going to want to take pictures of some of these really cool places, especially if you're holding speed for like 2 minutes and 24 seconds. It's like, I got nothing to do for 2 minutes and 24 seconds.
And the
I can
driver
take
doesn't get to
pictures.
see anything. You don't get to see any of the sightseeing.
So I show them at the end of the day, look where we were. Make sure you've got a digital camera if that's something that's important to you.
There was a question about GoPros and X360s. My understanding was that it depends, as long as it does not have a clock on it and you don't have to activate it with your iPhone.
I believe that is correct, because we've had a number of racers that have used GoPros in the past.
And I'm not sure about whether or not you can transmit live. You may be able to record and post it later, but I'd have to talk to Brad in Houston to see if it's okay to run a live feed from your car. We tried to do that in the past, and it was not considered something they wanted you to do. But times have changed, and everybody's looking for content, and we need to check on that and make sure that if you're trying to do a live feed, that's okay.
This is Brad. That's not a problem. It's just really the bandwidth. We drive in a lot of places where it's just you and mobile homes and chickens running across the road to stay away from the population. So where you may want to live stream, you may not have signal a lot of times. Our rule is, yes, cell phones need to stay hidden in the back of the car. If you've got a GoPro that will talk wirelessly back to that device that is not in your reach without your intervention, no big deal. But we can certainly talk.
And headsets for communication, absolutely. I highly recommend them, especially if you're in an open car.
They just can't be connected to a radio where you can talk to somebody else through the heads. It's like an aviation headset where you have a box under the dash where you just plug in both headsets and controls the volume. You're just talking to each other. Nothing that communicates outside of that.
And then I'm not yelling at him and he's not saying, what?
With an open car, it makes a big difference. It reduces the amount of roar that you get from the wind going by, and you're not yelling at each other so much. You actually understand what each other says. If you have an open car, we highly recommend running an aviation headset combination. Go to Sporty's Pilot Shop online, buy 2 headsets and the box that goes with them. Usually they have a 9-volt battery in them. They don't connect to the vehicle's electrical system, so you can take them on or off your car without a problem.
Dan and I have run a set for years that is Bluetooth, and it will only talk to each other. It does not talk to anything else. So you sync them to each other, and we talk Bluetooth. So that's available.
Oh, no wires.
So they've had that out there for years. So there's a lot of
Well, we had old-fashioned ones when we ran the Model A.
I used to be a pilot. I had headsets. Yeah.
Okay, just getting back to our slides. Google Glasses, I'll let somebody else discuss that because I'm old. Great Race sells merchandise. You're going to get a free shirt. You're going to get a free hat. There's going to be other shirts that you're going to want to buy because they're really cool. And so pack less than you'll think you'll need. And sometimes you'll go in to the host town at the end of the day. They'll give you a goodie bag and there will be a T-shirt for their city in there. So you just never know. So pack less than you think you'll need. Lots of stops at gas stations with mini marts, a lot of Walmarts and auto parts stores near the lunch and overnight stops. So if you need to stop and pick up stuff, don't feel like you need to pack everything. You'll have the opportunity to pick up essentials along the way. And Steve already talked about what to pack as far as car parts. All right. Let's see what happens when we get to Springfield. There's a lot of cool stuff that's going to be happening. Basically, most teams will be arriving on Wednesday, and that'll be a good time for you to meet with your mentors. And there's some optional sightseeing that they've arranged, and so you'll be able to drive up to Chicago to see the eastern terminus of Route 66, the American Giants Museum that has all of those huge statues of the guy holding the tires and Superman.
The muffler man.
And the Lincoln Tomb. There's going to be an open house on Wednesday at the Pontiac Oakland.
So funny because Brad's the director now.
There's a museum that's going to have an open house for us,
and it's a nice one. It's worth going to.
It is. And yes, are you allowed to put a sticker with your team name on your car? You better. Um, okay, registration and vehicle inspection will be on Thursday. That will be according to a schedule. Literally, it will be minute by minute. So there will be 8 o'clock, 8:01, 8:02, 8:03. Be in line, be on time, be early. You'll pick up your shirts and hats. Make sure that you've signed all the waivers that need to be signed. There will be merchandise to buy, and then they will give you your measured mile speedometer calibration, so you can go out and run that. Steve and I will be available in a meeting room in the DoubleTree Hotel to answer all of your questions. The scoring staff will be there talking about the time allowance procedures, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And then you'll have the opportunity to just chat with all of your fellow racers. That's on Thursday. Friday is when it gets interesting. Rally school. It's a mandatory meeting. You're going to see 500 people packed into the same room, and you're going to look around and go, whoa, what did I get myself into? This is awesome. So, Director of Competition John Klassen is a legend in Great Race. He is a grand champion. He is one of the best rally masters out there, and he is going to explain how his route instructions work. And he will go through the trophy run step by step by step and explain how that route works. And then he will dismiss the veteran teams. The rookies are going to hang around for another hour or so, and Steve and I will go into that in even more detail to make sure that you are all ready to go for the trophy run practice rally. It's a little bit more than a half a day rally. You'll just be coming back to the hotel at the end of the night. Then there will be an official welcome dinner. There will be awards presentations. And then Saturday, the race begins. So we will all get in race order, drive to the old state capitol. They will stage us and we'll hang around there for 3 hours. There will be hundreds, hopefully thousands of spectators there to take pictures and just enjoy the ambiance of the whole thing. Opening ceremony, official start, a big green flag waving all over. And Brad will be up there grinning from ear to ear. And then we will do our first day of official rallying. And then at the end of the day, there will be a "What am I doing wrong" seminar. And so Steve and I will be sitting in a conference room somewhere answering your questions. So that will be your first couple days in Springfield. Now, let's see what's going to happen after that. A day in the life. Steve, I'll let you take this over.
Oh, okay. There we go. Glasses will only focus so far. You're given an order of start, which will tell you where you're going to be in the field, which changes each day. If there's you draw a number out of a hat, that determines your position. So if you've been following this car yesterday, you may not be following that car today. So you want to know the car that you're following so that when you go to stage yourself and know where you're supposed to be for the start, you can verify it by knowing the cars that are in front of you and the ones that are behind you, and you put yourself in the middle of that. The official start of a rally does not happen at the hotel. It doesn't happen on the speedo calibration run. They take you out into the countryside where we have some hopefully very quiet 2-lane roads. And then there'll be a sign on the side of the road that says speed limit 35. And that could be the official start. So you are going to be leaving that sign when you figure out your start position and knowing that the race starts, they give the race start time. It starts at 1 minute, doesn't start at 0. First car at the 1 minute mark. And then you look at the cars around you, you watch the cars in front. As a rookie, you're going to say, okay, this guy should leave at 5 minutes. This guy leaves at 4. This guy leaves at 3. This guy leaves at 2. We leave here. You'll already know where you should be. And that's the first time you're going to be using your performance chart. If it says speed limit 35, you know you can't go, you don't start at 0 right on the time. You have to leave early. So if it takes you 15 seconds, let's say, to get to 30 miles an hour, very slow car, you're gonna have to leave 15 seconds before your official start time. Hope that is clear. Do not leave when it says this is your start time. You have to leave earlier than your start time.
And we'll go over that when we go through the sample course instructions.
We'll be covering this a couple of more times.
But first I want to prepare you before your day starts is what you're going to be moving up to. You'll know what the race start time is. So it'll say right at the top, stage start time 8:00. You'll know your starting position. So say, for example, your car number 30. So you pick up your route instructions 30 minutes before your start time. So if it was 8:00 and we're car number 30, we're going to pick up our instructions at 8:00 because that's 30 minutes before our start time of 8:00 plus 30. So that's when we pick up our route instructions. So you're going to determine what your start time is the night before. So you're doing all of this backwards. What time do I need to get up? What time do I need to have breakfast? What time do I need to check out of the hotel? When do I give my suitcases to my support crew or pack them in the back of my car? You want to make sure you've got time when you pick up your instructions to set your clock and your stopwatch. That's what you can see in the pictures here. The top picture, they're picking up the route instructions. The bottom picture, they're setting their clocks and stopwatch at a vehicle that is parked right next to where you pick up your instructions. So that's all part of your preparation for the day. Pick up your course instructions. There may be emergency instructions. There's a team that goes out a day ahead to run the next day's route to make sure that there aren't any road closures or construction or flooding. And so they may have to reroute the race, or there may be a speed that's unsafe because of the road condition, and they may change that. So watch for those emergency instructions, because if you don't follow those, then you're going to mess up your day.
As a driver, I'm primarily watching my navigator do all this. I'm just waiting to get in the car and go. That might be different on your team. The driver may be taking those responsibilities. But the navigator in this case lets me know when we're going to leave. She's going to be marking her instructions before we get into the car. So I'm kind of hanging out with the other drivers, waiting for our navigators to finish the prep before the day starts.
And so you can take a few minutes because you're picking them up 30 minutes before you leave. You'll have some time to go through and just make sure that you've got all the pages that they hand it to you in a stapled packet. You want to make sure, just in case, that all of the pages are there in order. And then you're just going to be looking to see, okay, looks like we've got a maze here. Looks like there's a train. We're going to be crossing a railroad track here. Looks like there's a tricky signal in a small town. So just kind of preparing yourself for what's to come.
This is all before the car pulls out of the parking lot.
All right. So next slide. Now you're on the road. So you leave your hotel within the 30-minute window after you've picked up your instructions. Then you'll do a speedometer calibration run, and we will show you how that works in the route instructions, and figure out what to do with the result. It's going to tell you you're either on time or you're early or late. What do you do with that once you know what it is? And see that top picture? That's a checkpoint. We're probably going to see something that looks very much like that. A very, very, very long, straight road through a desert this could be Nevada, this could be Arizona, this could be California, this could be New Mexico. It looks a lot like that. And your next instruction is probably a hard right turn. So you know you're going to be going that speed for a really long time.
Navigator gets to take a break. The driver is trying hard to stay awake while holding 50 miles an hour.
Or 55 or 48. 48 is something you'll see on quite a few occasions. Okay, so you've done your speedometer calibration. That start point, again, it's in the middle of nowhere, and you're just going to be looking at your order of start to make sure that you are starting exactly a minute behind the car in front of you at the speed that you're supposed to go to, leaving a couple of seconds early based on your acceleration loss. There will be checkpoints. There will be fuel and restroom stops along the course every day. They will take you off the clock for that, but in a very controlled fashion. We'll show you how that works. There will be a lunch stop where you will be completely off the clock for between 45 minutes and an hour, probably closer to 45 minutes. Then there will be more instructions, more checkpoints, more rest stops. And then once you get to the end of the day, actually the end of the time section before lunch and the end of the time section at the end of the day, you will submit time delays on an app on your phone. So your phone will be in your car, but out of your reach. It'll be locked up in your trunk or whatever it is that that will keep it away from you having immediate access to it while you're driving. You'll pull out your clock, you'll submit those time delays, go through the finish gate. There will be the announcers will be there. They'll announce your car. There will be loud cheering and it's like, wow, this is cool. I am a celebrity and I've never been a celebrity before in my life. It's really fun. And then you will park your cars for a couple of hours to let the local spectators enjoy them. They will provide a meal for us and just enjoy the time with our racing family and separate instructions for support crews. And
Not everybody is staying in the same hotel. Usually there are 2 or 3 hotels depending on the size of the town and how there's like 400 to 500 people when you include the support crews that are traveling on Great Race. So you need a lot of hotel rooms
and the staff.
and the staff. And the
And you'll do this every day in a row for 9 days.
So there's 2 car shows a day, basically, one for lunch and one for the evening, and you are required to leave your car in the Parc Fermé for as long as they tell you you should, because they've made this arrangement with the town. They may be providing us dinner. In return, we're giving them a car show with 130 cars for 2 hours. So if you have to leave because your car is broken and you need to get someplace to get it repaired, talk to
Brad.
Talk to Brad. And if he approves it, you can. Don't leave because he left. He's going early. I want to go home early so I can go to bed early. No, that's not how it works. You're still on the clock when you're in the Parc Fermé after the competition for the day is over.
All right. Now, the next thing is very important, and it's not talked about enough, and Steve is really good at this. We're going to talk about etiquette.
Great race etiquette. You got 130 people from literally all over the world. You've got some Japanese guys that don't really speak English. You've got teams from England. You've got people from
Switzerland and Canada.
You got people from New York that drive differently than people from California.
Which is good.
Yeah, let's put it that way. Not everybody handles the stress of Great Race the same. So one of the things that you want to be aware of is that it's just a game. We're playing a game. If the game doesn't go well, oh well, you got tomorrow, go back to it. You got to, when you come across the finish line, you've got all these spectators out there waiting for you to cross. They may come to you with asking for an autograph or asking questions about how the race works. What's that thing, that tachometer on your dashboard? What's that for? Well, that's a speedometer and this is how it works. You try to take as much time with these folks as you can, remembering that if they don't come, we don't have a race. So you want to be like a NASCAR driver. You want to be able, if the guy comes up and sticks a microphone in your face and say, tell me about this deal, you smile and you do the best job you can. It's part of the event. And fans will wave back. Even if you had a crappy day and you don't feel like waving back, they're smiling and looking at you and going, hi, how are you? We had a terrible day. See you later. The press, I've done a couple of interviews with the press over the years where somebody will come up, you're just hanging out by your car and say, can I interview you for the local TV station? If you're not comfortable with that, find somebody else who would do it, but try it. It's fun, actually, to share your hobby with other people. And it's hard sometimes to get this all into concise, what's this deal about? Well, it takes 3 years to learn how to do it anyway. But if you can compress the story into like a 30 or 45-second soundbite, that really helps. But be polite with the press, so they're polite with us. The Great Race staff, the people who are out in the countryside doing the checkpoints, You don't stop when you go by a checkpoint. You don't talk to them. You can wave, you can smile. I usually like to honk the horn a little bit and run your headlights so they know that you're in the race and that you're coming. They don't have anything to do with the scoring or how your day goes, or if you missed an intersection or this guy cut you off or anything like that. That's not their problem. If you have a problem with the way the rally is being run, you go to Brad. You don't talk to the staff. The staff is volunteer primarily, and we want them to come back.
They're
And
doing this on their vacations.
Yeah.
They're taking their vacation to support Great Race every year.
so
These are awesome people. We love them.
yeah, if they aren't there, we don't have a race. So don't
Abuse them.
don't express your outrage to any of the Great Race staff, except Brad. He's used to it. He'll take care of it for you. Other racers, there will be you guys are rookies. Everybody has been a rookie. Everybody knows that rookies make mistakes. Experts make mistakes. Grand champions make mistakes. Sometimes they're really stupid mistakes. But there are times when people are not aware of the fact that they have misadjusted their speedometer and they're running slower than everybody else, and people are coming up behind them and honking their horn and thinking, I'm right, you're wrong, and you're getting in their way. Be aware that if you have like a mechanical problem, you know there's another race car 1 minute behind you. If you can, get out of the lane safely, get over to the side safely so the next guy can come by and his time is not messed up by your problem. The competition level, the grand champions, they're in it for the money. And it's serious money. This is one of the things that makes Great Race different from a lot of the other car events that you go to. This is not something that's done casually. It's a pretty intense competition, especially for some folks who are really focused. We have a few people who are not volunteering to help with the rookies because their mindset is that I'm focused on winning a lot. Everybody else is out there to help you. So if you can't find your mentor and you have a question during the race, you can come up to just about anybody and say, excuse me, I have a question. I'm a rookie and I'd like to figure this out. 99% of the time, they'll be happy to help you with this because we were all rookies and we've all been through this before.
And we want you to come back. We want you to enjoy it and tell your friends about it and keep this wonderful thing that we are obsessed by going year after year.
We've talked about the start and restart positions where you're using your order of start to know where you're supposed to be. Should you get lost, and everybody has gone off course before. The idea being that you want to, you would get back, just retrace your steps. How do you know that you're off course? Is that a separate course?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later.
So we'll talk about the fact that if you get off course, getting back into the field, you want to be aware of where your fellow competitors are so you're not in their way while you're doing it. Okay.
One thing I do want to impress regarding etiquette, the way you drive, you have a big sticker on the side of your car that says Great Race. You have credentials around your neck that say Great Race. You're probably wearing shirts that say Great Race. If you're a jerk, that reflects badly on the Great Race. So if you're driving like a jerk, if you're cutting people off, if you're whipping in and out of traffic, Brad's going to get a call. So don't be that guy. You represent the Great Race in everything you do for 2 weeks. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right, let's go through some course instructions. But first, there are 4 S's for success. Number 1, which we will emphasize over and over and over. Safety first. Safety first. No score is worth putting yourself, another racer, or a spectator in danger. No score is worth that. Drive safely at all times. If an unsafe situation arises, safety is more important than the race. You can usually make up any lost time or use a time allowance if it's an unsafe condition. So safety first. Then the most important thing after that, start on time. Everything in this race is run on the clock to the second, to the minute, the seconds. Make sure that your clock is calibrated every morning. You may lose a half a second or a second a day on your clock. You want to reset that every day. That 1 second can be critical. So make sure you start on time, use your order of start, and compare where you are in relation to the other cars around you. Stay on course. So you may not necessarily be exactly at the right speed all the time. If you are looking for a turn and you're not sure, if it's a small side road, you can see that your speed's going to be 20 miles an hour. It's going to be a small road. If your outspeed is 45, you're looking for a pretty big road, and it'll be pretty easy to see. But you might want to just kind of slow down a little bit as you approach what you think might be that turn, and then you can make up the extra seconds for slowing down. It's better than blowing past and going, oh, that was it. And then you've got to whip around and you've lost 30 seconds in turning around. So stay on course, and that's going to save you minutes.
Let me start. Just go back quickly to the start on time. It may not be clear, but where the official timing of the rally begins, there's nobody there to tell you to go. There's no race official. There's nobody waving a flag. There is no checkpoint crew. It's just that sign at the side of the road.
It's you and the clock and your order of start.
And looking at the people that are around you on your order of start. And if you're not sure, when you get up there, you can look, even if you park the car, walk out, look to where the sign is down the road and see the cars when they're leaving, and look at your order of start and say, okay, they're 10 ahead of us, they're 5 ahead of us. And if you get there late and you don't recognize the cars that are in front, you're already in trouble.
But that's another thing. Those cars should be lined up behind that start sign. You should be able to see, okay, there's the Chevrolet truck, there's the Alfa Romeo, there's the Ford Cabriolet, there's the Ranchero, there's the Chrysler. And then, okay, we're going to tuck in behind this Mustang.
It's pretty obvious.
If you get there 10 or 15 minutes early, do not pull up to that start sign. All of those other cars deserve to be there before you. So find the car that you're behind, tuck in behind the car that's in front of you. If he's the one at the sign, don't be him.
Or there are times when you'll motor past the sign and say, oh, there's the start, go down, turn around, come back and get in line again. You can do that too.
But don't get in the way of any cars that are pulling away from that
The
sign.
guy's at the sign and he's got his blinker on. Let him go.
Okay, so you're on course, stay on time. If you use your performance chart, you follow the speeds, you're going to have a good score. For rookies, we figure if you stay within your minute, if you stay behind the car in front of you, stay in front of the car behind you, you're going to have a good day.
And since you're rookies, you're going to be running in your own class. You're going to be competing against other rookies. Everybody's going to be at the same skill level, basically. So what am I saying? Being in your minute is what we teach. When you get up to grand champion, then you're looking at tenths of seconds, but that's not you. You're looking to be in your minute. Anytime, you got 30 seconds up and 30 seconds back. If you can stay within like 15 seconds of that, or if you're not sure, you drive up behind the car that's in front of you, then back off a minute to put yourself back in the position. You can do stuff like that. You can use all the information available to you to make sure that you're about where you're supposed to be.
Okay, so let's go through route instructions. So at the very beginning of the day, your route instructions are in 3 sections. There's basically 5 columns there. The first column, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are your number vertically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are your numerical instructions. So instruction 3 is the left turn, instruction 4 is the signal, instruction 5 is the toll booth. And then across, your column A is going to be describing the road, the signage, the intersections, what you're going to be doing in column A. Column B is whatever section of the course you are in. The first few instructions you can see there are the tire warm-up section. Then you can see down at the bottom, you'll start a speedometer calibration, and I'll go through that step by step so you'll see how that works. The next column is your speed and timing. So it will tell you what speeds you're going to be driving at, how many seconds or minutes you're going to be holding those speeds. And then the last column, that's kind of a fun one. John likes to have fun with that. It will give you some special instructions. It might be pointing out, look to your right, you'll be able to see the blue whale off in the distance. But it might just have something like you can see in instruction number 3 that this is the 5th signal. So you'll just be following that one by one. And then once you get to that 5th signal, you'll see that that will show, there will be a sign to your left that will say to I-95, and you'll make that left turn at that signal. So that's how these are laid out. At the very bottom, there are page numbers. So it'll say page 1 of 26. I will not leave the scores table until I have flipped through every one and I've seen 2 of 26, 3 of 26, 4 of 26. I want to make sure before I leave, I have every page accounted for.
Just so you know, the race is not designed to try to trick you with the course instructions. You may have gone on other fun rallies with car clubs or stuff like that where they tried to make some tricky thing that you have to figure out to know where you're going. This is not that. Everything is as clear as they can make it. You may not recognize the instruction until you get to it and say, oh, this is what they mean by this primary road leads off to the left. So don't feel like you have to second guess the instructions. They try very hard to make sure that they are as clear and concise as they can be.
So each instruction, you're just going to follow it sequentially. The first one, you're starting at a playhouse, you're turning right onto the street in front of you. You are the dark arrow. So the lighter colored lines are directions that you don't take. So in this case, you're pulling out onto the road, you're turning right onto US number 1, and you're just turning right. You're going to go, 9 miles, and that's just to warm up your tires. And continue on until you see Shore Road, Beach Street, and you're going to go off to the left there. So, and once you've done that, then you cross off that instruction, move to the next one. You're looking for that 5th signal, turning left onto I-95 or towards I-95. And the next instruction, you're going to go under a couple of overpasses. At a signal, you're going to turn right onto I-95, and it will tell you in that far right column, turn into the middle lane. Then your next instruction, so you're going to mark that off. You've done that. There's a toll booth. You're going to stop at the toll booth. You're going to pay your $1.50, and they will let you know the day ahead whether there's any upcoming tolls for the following day, so you'll be prepared. So then you'll continue, and what you're looking for is the next section. You can see the speedometer calibration sign in the second column. You're going to start that speedometer calibration at a sign on the right. You see the arrow is on the left, the sign is on the right. So speed limit 65, that is where you start your stopwatch. Your driver is exactly at 50 miles an hour, and you're just going to continue at 50 miles an hour until the next sign. So go on to the next page. The next sign will say, again, sign on your right, Kennebunk, and Kennebunkport.
Whatever.
There is an interval time and a cumulative time that is shown. The interval, I'm going to say, okay, our next sign is coming up in 4 minutes. We're looking for a sign on the right, Kennebunk. And then I'm going to hit split on my stopwatch when I get to that point. And I'm going to write down the time in column D on my route instructions. And then I'm not going to do anything. After I've written it down, I'm going to hit split again. Now I'm looking in another 3 minutes for a sign on the left, Eastern Trail. And so 3 minutes past that Kennebunk sign, it should be at that point elapsed time of 7 minutes, 19.7 seconds. That will show on my split when I pass that sign. I'm going to write that down. Yeah, I'm probably at 7 minutes, 19.6 seconds, maybe 19.5 seconds. I'm just going to write down what I have. I'm not trying to match that. I'm trying to compare what I have to what the optimal time is. So you're going to continue to do that at each one of those signs.
Drivers, the helping your navigator. Like when you pass this sign on the side of the road, you know what it looks like when you have a sign on the side of the road. When do you hit the stopwatch? For us, what I do as a driver is I will turn my head to the right, and when the two sticks that hold the sign together are parallel, that's when I'll say mark. And I'll do that each time. If the sign is overhead, I'll use the bridge abutment and use that the same way. So it depends on the team. The navigator can do the stopwatch thing on their own, but if the driver can help, that can help, especially if the sign is on the left side of the road and the driver has a better view of it than the navigator does.
Okay, so you're going to do that for every one of those signs. Just hit split, 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 split. Write it down, write it down. And what you're looking for is a steady progression of getting progressively earlier or progressively later, because that tells you, okay, if it's a linear progression of getting earlier or later, you know you're going to either make an adjustment to your speedometer, or you're going to be making an adjustment manually during the day, all day long. Because you want to just compare to what that perfect time is that they'll be using for your perfect arrival at those checkpoints. If sometimes there will be traffic and you'll have to stop or slow down and you won't be able to maintain that speed. Okay, so you stop where you are, you look for the next sign, and you start fresh again. That's why you've got those elapsed times between the two, so you can just add those together. Instead of looking for the cumulative, you make your own new cumulative. So you can start and stop if you need to.
The driver,
Sometimes I'll hit the stop button instead of the split button. That's when you do it again.
yeah, the driver is looking ahead while the navigator is making calculations as to how early or late you are. If you see that the traffic is stopped in front of you in both lanes, you can tell the navigator that we're going to have to stop. And then when you get through that traffic, you'll pull over, get to the point where you can restart again, get up to speed, and then the navigator will tell you the next sign that you need to have your speed up by. The one thing that gets us all the time as drivers is if we're on like a 3-lane road and you're in the right lane, since you're doing 50 and everybody else is doing 80 or 92 or whatever. If that lane that you're in disappears ahead, the driver looks at that and says, "Oh, dang, I'm going to lose this lane." It gives you plenty of time to watch your mirror and to merge into the left lane while holding your speed. You make sure that you don't have a truck that's doing 10 miles an hour faster than you are. You don't want to wait for the last minute to pull in front of him. If you have to slow down to merge, you're going to blow her time.
Okay, let's go on to the next slide then. We're going to continue, and there's the end of the speedometer calibration. Sometimes you'll see some of those overhead signs will be directing you to be in certain lanes so that you're ready to exit or to merge onto a different freeway. So it'll tell you either stay there on 995, so don't go to the other option that you'll see there. Or it'll tell you you're going to be moving into, I-72, whatever it happens to be. So you follow those signs and that will direct you to where you're going to be. And then at the end, you see the hourglass there. And that tells you that you've come to the end of the speedometer calibration and you're starting a new section. So this is an off-the-clock transit. And so that tells you now that Payne Road half mile was the last sign. Your total elapsed time for that speedometer calibration should have been 28 minutes, 43.2 seconds. Whatever you differentiate from that is your error for a period of 28 seconds. If you double that error, that will let you know how many seconds. Again, we're just estimating here, but that will tell you how many seconds early or late you are in an hour. And that's what you will use to reset your speedometer, or just know that throughout the day, if you're 3 seconds early in the hour, every 20 minutes all day long, you're going to correct a second.
Drivers, you're waiting for your navigator to tell you that you're off the clock. That means you don't have to hold that speed anymore. So if you're going off this freeway exit and it's at a slower speed, you know that you don't have to hold that speed anymore and you're just driving on your own. The driver needs to know when you're off the clock and then you're just driving like you would normally. Usually there's a stop close by, like you get off the freeway and there'll be a gas station. You'll have a chance to go to the bathroom, top up the gas. Always make sure that you top up the gas every opportunity to get. The navigator is figuring out the uh, uh, factor for the speedometer, and then you can sit there, adjust the speedometer, and then you're now ready to go when you get to the official timed start.
And in this case, this is a route instructions from a practice rally. And so it immediately took you into lunch. We haven't even technically been on the clock yet. So there's an opportunity to have lunch. And you see those numbers in parentheses. That tells you how many minutes you are from where the start will be. So you can see where the crossed knife and fork are. It says 10 minutes right next to that. That tells you you need to leave there at least 10 minutes from that intersection to be ready to go to your start. And then when you, in the next intersection, when you're turning left onto Gorham at that signal, then you're 6 minutes away from your start. So now, next page.
Janet, you might point
Yes.
out that this transit zone is 5 miles and you have 55 minutes going into it.
Oh, excellent. Yes, thank you.
So that lets you know how much time you have to stop for gas.
Or to eat in this particular case.
Or use the bathroom.
Or all of the above.
Or all of them. Yeah.
Okay, so now you see these Santas in the bottom of the hourglass after a couple more turns, and there is a time of day clock. That is your start. So you are actually starting the competition for the first time a couple hours after you left the hotel. And you are starting at a stop ahead sign. Okay.
That's terrible.
But it happens. So it is telling you, okay, at 140 plus your start position. So if I was start position from my start order of start position 30, I am going to leave there at 210. So 140 plus 30. And I'm going to leave that stop ahead sign at 20 miles an hour. But I'm not going to leave right at 210. I'm going to leave at 209, less about a second and a half, because that's how much we lose accelerating up to 20. And then obviously there's going to be a stop sign that's going to come real soon after that. And then you'll be ready to make that right turn at that stop. Generally, at a stop sign, they will allow you a 15-second pause. That 15 seconds allows you to compensate for the time that you lost in decelerating to the stop and accelerating up to, what is that, 25, 35 miles per hour. So you're coming in at 20, you're probably losing a couple seconds decelerating down to 0, and then you're losing a couple more seconds accelerating up to 35. So say that total is 5 seconds lost, you're only going to pause for 10 seconds. So that will get you right on time when you leave. And that's all based on what you see on your performance chart, based on how you drive the car and based on how your car performs. So you'll subtract your acceleration loss and your deceleration loss from that 15 seconds. That's how long you pause. And then you continue with 35 miles an hour. So you're at 35 miles an hour until you see a speed limit 35 sign on your right. You will go down to 30 miles an hour. and you will stay at 30 miles an hour until you see that next sign, which is a stop sign. And again, you'll go down to 0. There is a 15-second pause allowed, and then you'll go up to 30. Now, the next one is a blinky light. It does not say stop. However, there is a 15-second pause in the instructions. So you will treat that as if it were a stop. I'm going to write stop in big letters, and I'm going to highlight it in yellow. So again, you'll treat it exactly the same as you would have if it were a regular stop sign. Okay, and when Steve gets back, I will ask him to tell you about splitting signs. Let's go on to the next slide. Okay, when instructions are okay. On the previous page, you were at 35 miles an hour. What you want to do is you don't remember, drivers are stupid. They don't remember what speed you told them to go to. So I will always write down the speed from the bottom of the previous page at the top of the next page to remind me we are still at 35. We're going to continue 35 until we get to this street where we're going to be turning right and going out at 30 miles an hour. Okay. In the next instruction, you see a small sign in the instruction. When you see a sign before an intersection like that, and there is a speed change, you can see that we're at 30, we're going down to 20. You're not going to turn, you're not going to go down to 20 at the turn. You're going to go down to 20 at the sign if it's showing a picture of a sign in the route instructions. Okay, so you're down to 20, and then you're going to make that right turn onto that street at 20 miles an hour. Okay. Next one, there's again a couple more stops. Same process. You pause for whatever you need to based on your performance chart. And then you can see that after a couple more stops, there is a right turn onto Hearn Road. That does not have a stop. And so you're going into the turn at 40 miles an hour. You're coming out of the turn at 35 miles an hour. That is when you're going to use your performance chart, because you know that you will be going down to 15 miles an hour at that turn and then accelerating back up to 35. And so that's what you're going to be referring to your chart and making up the time lost from that turn. Okay. Continue. We've got a couple more stops and turns. Going on to the next slide. See, it's pretty easy. It's just one after another after another. As soon as you've done it, cross it off. Mark down your speed at the top of the next page. Okay, you're going 30. You get to a speed limit 25 sign, and you're going to be going down to 20. So, Steve, if you'll tell them what the process for splitting a sign is.
Drivers, there's a technique for splitting a sign. That is that you're not waiting until you're abeam the sign before you make your speed change. What you're going to do is start the speed change before you get there. The idea is that you want to hit that sign right about the middle of your speed change. So if you're doing 30 and it's going down to 20, you want to go to 25 abeam the sign, so then you're at 20 on the other side of it. That way, there's no calculations that need to be made, either going faster or slower, because you split the sign, you've averaged out both sides of it, and you're right on time.
And that works both going up and going down. Okay, so there is nothing at the next sign. You can sometimes you'll just see a blank box in the middle of your route instructions. That means there is a left jog sign there, but you're not going to change speed at it. But I will always write in whatever the previous speed was, just so that I know, yes, there was not a speed change there. We continue at 20 until the next instruction. But what this is telling you, this is warning you, there's a comes quick there on the right. And so that's saying when you see that left jog sign, there's a real hard right turn onto Ricker coming up right after that. So look sharp. So you use all the instructions that are there to give you those clues so that you don't miss a turn and get lost.
Drivers, again, there will be acute angles. That's right, not obtuse, right? That's an acute angle.
That is an acute angle. Very good.
Where you can't see where the road, there might be trees or stuff there, or you can't actually see the road going off to the right. Sometimes I'll use like power lines. Power lines go down along roads. If there's a power line that looks like it's crossing somewhere in the middle, I might use that as a clue is that the road is going to be there. Sometimes traffic coming the other way will be making their left turn on that road, so you'll know right where it is. But if you don't have any visual clues where it's at, you're only doing 25. If you have to slow down so you make the turn, most of us can make it at 20 or somewhere over 15. You might be making a pretty quick maneuver there, but this is going to be driver look for. Sometimes driveways will fool you. You'll come up to something and you'll see a driveway and you'll want to turn into the driveway and go, oh crap, that's a driveway. That's a look sharp, I think. But that comes with experience. You just keep doing it and practice it. If you go past it, what you want to do is you want to turn around when it's safe, because if there's traffic behind you or traffic coming, you don't want to make a U-turn in the middle of the road and have somebody hit you. The navigator hits the stopwatch as soon as you start going back to that intersection. That's half the time that you've lost. You double that, and you know how long you're off course when you did that. It's really simple.
Okay, so we're following instructions one by one. We pass a speed limit sign, make a hard right at a stop sign. And then I want you to notice he's written down comes quick. Because when we go to the next slide, you will see at the top of the next page, there's a comes quick of a right curve sign where
Delayed.
It's a delayed speed change. You don't do anything. You hit your stopwatch or you write down your time of day, and then 1 minute and 39 seconds later, you will increase speed up to 30 miles per hour. So, and that's common. It might be that the speed that you're at is sufficient to take you through that curve, and then once you pass that curve, then he's increasing you up to 30 miles an hour to meet the needs of the road at that time. Okay, so continuing on, a couple more stops. We've got again a sign before a turn, so you'll decrease down to 30 miles an hour at that right side road sign. You turn right onto Loudon Road. And you can see that there's a minus 2.3 that he's written there. That is something that he's written in from his performance chart that says when he makes that right turn from 35 to 30 miles an hour, he's lost 2.3 seconds. And so he's going to make up 2.3 seconds on the other side. We'll tell you how to do that in a couple minutes. Again, you've got another sign, another speed change, another stop. And you've got a clue here on the right that you won't see this River Road intersection until after that sign that's kind of at an angle. So look for that sign, then look for that road, make that turn. And it looks like we've got another comes quick after that. So next slide. Another comes quick. We've got so no speed change, but again, a look sharp turn after that. So use all of the information, especially in column D. That's going to help you with a lot of things that you would be confused about, but also to set you up to find those signs, to find those turns ahead of time. All right. Look sharp. John is really good about this is a first paved road. So there might have been a bunch of dirt roads, gravel roads, driveways. But once you see this, it'll be the first paved road that you'll be turning on. He's very specific about that. He's not going to take you down a gravel road unless it says short gravel road, use caution or something. And he'll have you at a low enough speed so that you're not going to be kicking up a bunch of rocks on your car. However, we will be driving on old Route 66 a lot. A lot of old Route 66 is in really bad shape. If you have a really nice paint job, enjoy it before the race.
Fair warning.
Yeah, we ended up with a crack in a windshield from old Route 66 last time.
Hey, Clear Bra is your friend. You can put it across
no
the
kidding.
front. It's great stuff. Great stuff.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
Okay. Again, more turns, more signs, one after another. Do the instruction, mark it off. Some people scratch through the whole thing. I just do a little tick mark on the side just because I want to go back and review them again later. Let's see where I screwed up. Look sharp. All of those are very helpful, not intended to confuse you at all. Okay, next slide. Okay, we're getting into a transit. Transits are fun. Again, more of the same instructions. Comes very quick. All right, the transit is at the stop ahead sign. That is the next instruction down. You've got the hourglass, and it's telling you that you're going to be going 10 miles, and it's going to take you 30 minutes to do that. The reason for that is that you can see a little rustic bathroom down there. This is a bathroom stop. You might see, rather than the bathroom picture, you might see a gas pump. So if it's a bathroom stop, they'll usually give you 15 minutes plus the time that it would take you to traverse the road that you're on. The important thing is when you cross that stop ahead sign, write down the exact time of day, hours, minutes, seconds. Then you will add that 30 minutes that he's allotting you, and you will carry that forward onto the instruction that will be on the next page that will tell you when to restart. So it's really important that you write down that exact time, add the 30 minutes or whatever the time is that he's allotted you, transfer that onto that next page. So let's go ahead. So he's going to take you to a place where there's bathrooms. We're going to go around a traffic circle, and there is.
Hey, Janet, can I make one note?
Yes, you may.
From the experience of doing this, there is sometimes a tendency to say, "Oh, 30 minutes. I'll just hit my stopwatch, and when it finishes 30 minutes, I don't have to worry about any of this."
And you're late.
We have seen so many people that go, "Whoops," and then they hit the button on the stopwatch, and they don't know where they are. So it is much better to actually write the time down and do that.
Do both.
Trust.
Do both. I'm
Yes.
looking for that sign. I'm looking at my clock. I'm writing down the hour. I'm writing down the minute. I'm looking for the second on my clock to come around. I've got the stopwatch at 0. I'm looking at the clock, 56, 57, 58, 59. There's the sign, hit the stopwatch, and then I write down the 59. So you're kind of doing a lot of things at once as a navigator, but it's real important to have that backup on your stopwatch and then look at it a minute later to make sure that your second was right, because sometimes your second might be off by a second or two. All right, so now you're out in the middle of nowhere. You've just gone to the bathroom. There's a speed limit 25 with about 4 cars behind it. They should be the 4 cars that are directly in front of you on your order of start, so you know you're in the right place at the right time. This is also a good opportunity to watch what second everybody else leaves, because then you'll know whether you're doing really good or like, oh, they left 30 seconds before we're supposed to leave. We must have screwed up. No, they did.
So could be. You don't know. You're just verifying.
But it's using the information available.
If it's somebody that has Grand Champion next to their name, chances are pretty good that leaving at the right time.
If you leave at the right second, but don't change your second because there might have been a checkpoint in between.
Right.
So you just use all the information available to you. Again, another series of, this is a maze. These are fun. Okay, mazes are when there's just a whole sequence of turns, usually at slow speeds. Sometimes there's stops, sometimes there's not. So be careful and just follow them. Again, mark it off one after another, after another, after another. Stay at the speed, whatever is given to you. Let's go on to the next slide. Oh, and there's a couple more, and there's a couple with stops. Follow those instructions. Now, here's something new. There's a picture of an old video camera with a slash through it. What that tells you is at that point, there could be something a little tricky on the course that they don't want to subject you to having to run into a checkpoint. So it's protecting you. So you may get off speed and you may need to have time to fix it. But at least between those instructions with the slash through it and when the camera is down there again at the bottom, that you won't see a checkpoint there. It's probably because of that signal. that signal with the arrow pointing to it. It's infrequent, but there will be times that you will be on a clock going through a signal. Of course, you won't know whether it's going to be green or red when you get there. So you're going to have to be prepared to either do the stop at the signal or go through the signal and do the stop on the other side of the intersection. So they're just allowing you to make up for whatever error you may encounter there. You'll make a right turn. You'll probably be, let's see, on that road, you'll be at 40 miles an hour for a while before you make that turn onto Sam Allen. So you'll have time to make up whatever error you might have encountered at that signal. And then you'll be back where there could be a checkpoint at any time. Again, down at the bottom, there's a blinky instead of a stop sign, but treat it as a stop sign. All right, next slide. Oh, my favorite, off the clock. When you see the digital clock with the slash through it, you are off. It's the end of the time section. It's the this is the end of the day, and it's telling you you now have 30 minutes to go 9 miles or whatever it is. John wants you to stop for gas. That gives them time to create your scorecard. And so when there's a picture of a gas pump, you will stop for gas, whether you need it or not. It's also a good time to get something to drink because you've got for transit to get into the finish.
Janet, don't you
Yes.
recommend every time there's a checkpoint, and in this case at the end as a backup, to record time of day?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, thank you for that. Again, those checkpoints will be randomly anywhere. When you see a checkpoint, I will always write it in column D in a nice big empty space. I'll make a little check mark. I'll put a 1 next to it, or 2, 3, 4, so I know the number of what checkpoint it was and exact time of day. If there's any discrepancy between you and the scoring team, if you don't know what time you passed that checkpoint, they're not going to be able to fix it and make any corrections. You say, well, I've got a 30-second leg here. I know I was on time. Well, prove it. Tell me what time you crossed the checkpoint. You've got to have that information. So write that down. Okay, now when you get to the end of your route instructions, there will be a couple of information boxes. The first one will be what is going on that evening. It'll tell you if there's a host dinner. It'll tell you how long you need to stay at the park for May. It'll tell you about parking information at the hotels. So it's really important to read all of that information. There will also be a box, which I'll show you on one of the next slides, about submitting a time allowance. That will also be towards the end of the instructions here. Okay, so next slide, there will be an information
There's a note
box.
for observation checkpoint here too, just to mention.
Okay.
The red.
Oh, yes. When you pull in at the very end at the hotel or the finish gate, there will be a red sign that says Great Race. It's down on the ground level, and you must stop there and talk to the staff that are there. And that's usually when they'll give you your score sheet and other information and your start order for the next day. Okay, information box 2 on the next page tells you what will happen the next day. So it'll tell you what the start time is, whether there's any tolls, where you're going to pick up your course instructions, because it isn't necessarily at the hotel you are staying at. So you're going to need to know how to get to the hotel where you're picking up your route instructions the following day. So that's really important that you add that into your preparation for starting the day. Okay, so let's look at the time allowance instructions. So sometimes you will lose time due to circumstances beyond your control. Slow moving vehicles in front of you, there will be farm vehicles, there will be school buses. Yay. We have lots of stories about school buses. Buy us a drink, we'll tell you. Construction area, traffic, cross traffic, small towns, cross traffic at intersections. You could be caught by a train. You probably will be caught by a train at some point. And they would like you to make up whatever time you lose to the best of your ability. Don't just assume, oh, I lost 30 seconds there. I'm just going to turn in a time allowance and they will approve it and I won't have to do any work. 30 seconds is pretty easy to make up. So you want to try to limit your time allowances to even them into 10-second increments, because you can turn in a time allowance for 10-second increments, but make up whatever time you can safely. If you can't make it up safely, if there's another rally car in front of you, you cannot get around it to increase your speed, you stay where you are and you submit your time delay and you just say, I couldn't make it up safely. But also don't cheat. You can't submit a time allowance if you missed a turn or if you had a mechanical difficulty. So this is the process for the time allowance. What you'll see on your route instruction is a box that says within 15 minutes, you go to greatracescores.com/time allowance and you will submit your time allowances. This is an app on your phone. You'll see your car number. They give you a 4-digit password and you'll put in your password. You'll put in the phone number that you're using for the cell phone that you're using for time allowances. And then you'll enter whatever your time allowance is. In this particular instance, on leg 3 between instructions 44 and 45, we were stopped for 3 minutes and 40 seconds by a train. Submit. All right, so maybe I had another one later in the day. Maybe I had 3 or 4 of them and it was a really bad day. And you just continue to submit them. And then at the very end of the day, when all allowances have been submitted, you click that red box and you are done. That tells them, I am done. You may now print my scorecard. And you will be doing that twice a day. The red button is only at the end of the day, but you'll submit that at lunch and then at the end of the day. Okay, so special situations. Making up time. Again, anytime you make a turn, you're going to be, you will have lost time. You will need to make it up. The best way to do that, the easiest way to do that is what we call the 10% rule. If you are going 30 miles an hour and you have lost 5 seconds, I have my driver go 10% faster to 33 miles an hour for 10 times the number of seconds we're behind. So if I'm 5 seconds late, then we're going to go 50 seconds at 10% over at 33 miles an hour. That will put us right back on time. Okay. So 30 to 33, 40 to 44, 50 to 55, 48 to 52.8. And you can also do this in reverse if you need to lose time. Sometimes you may need to leave a stop early if there's cross traffic coming. And so it's like, oh, we're 5 seconds early. Okay, so drop down 10%, drop down to 27 for 50 seconds, and then you're right back on time.
Drivers, this one's for you. If you're looking in your rear view mirror and you see 5 gravel trucks coming, leave. Tell your navigator we're going to leave now. She'll hit the stopwatch. You're leaving early. That's okay. You put those seconds in your pocket. If you're coming up to a stop sign as your next instruction, you just bleed them off there. So it's okay to leave early as long as you know how early you are. And believe me, it's the better part of discretion for the driver to say, oh, crap, I got to get out of here and go. You can bleed off those extra seconds later.
Okay, so that's the 10% rule for making up time. Now, finally, special situation when you're lost. So next slide. Sometimes you just blow it. You miss a turn, you miss an instruction. If you're driving at a speed that does not correspond with the road you're on, you may be wrong. If you encounter a stop sign and there is not a stop sign on your course instruction, you are wrong. If you're on a long straight road, say you're driving 30 miles an hour, long straight road, and you can't see the car in front of you or behind you, you may be wrong. So go ahead.
There are times, drivers, when you're going along, you don't see anything. you're not sure, you haven't had an instruction for the last 10 minutes, you don't know if you're on the right course or not. If you're not sure, the easiest thing to do as a rookie is to just pull over and stop. If you're on the course, there's going to be a car right behind you 1 minute. If the car comes by, you go, oh crap, we were on the right course. Just you're going to get up there, pass that car, get a minute in front of them, whatever that is, and you've pretty much fixed it. The trick is not to go, well, we have fooled ourselves sometimes. We're saying, we must have missed a turn. This is too long. This is too long. Oh, wait, there's the sign. That will happen. Don't second guess it. There are other things that you can use. For example, if the speed limit says 30 and they've got you at 50, you know you're wrong. Those things can make a big difference. You hit a stop sign and you're supposed to be making a right turn next. You know you're wrong. Turn around, start your stopwatch, go back to where you knew you were on course, look to see race cars coming by, use your orders, start, say, okay, these guys were 10 behind us. Get in like at the 30-second spot. If you got cars 1 minute apart, try to insert yourself in the 30-second spot so you don't mess up either one of those cars, and you'll know how far back you are. Now, if you don't have time to pass all those cars to get back to your slot, this leg is blown. You're back on course, you're running again, but don't try to do anything heroic like I have done in the past, and try to get yourself back into position. You're going to have throwaway legs. Your worst scores are going to be discarded. So you just look at that and say, okay, that's my discarded leg. But now you're in the race course back further than you were. So when you cross a checkpoint, okay, that previous leg is blown, but when you cross that checkpoint, you're on a brand new one where you've got a zero error going into it. Follow all the instructions that you're supposed to follow, even if you're 30 seconds behind the car in front of you, or if he's a good racer, you want to stay that 30 seconds behind. But you're now going to be driving it the rest of the time, either up to lunch or to the end of the race in that slot. That's where you are now.
Yeah, and be careful. That's a really big thing. If you're moving fast and you're trying to get around somebody or trying to get in position and you come through a checkpoint, try not to be right on the bumper of the car ahead of you, because as you pass through and you're both zeroed again, you're going to stick right there for that entire leg, and it's aggravating for everybody. So give everybody a little breathing room and make it up with your stopwatch.
So a good thing to do if you find yourself on the bumper of another car crossing a checkpoint, drop back 30 seconds, submit a time delay that you were right next to another race car, and you drop back 30 seconds for safety. That'll give you a little bit of breathing room so you're not in each other's way at stop signs.
There's ways to fix just about everything.
Okay, we're getting to the top of the hour, and there's just like a one more slide. Yeah, we'll open this up for any questions. But I wanted to just I found this quote and I loved it. Winning is fun, sure. Winning is not the point. Wanting to win is the point. Not giving up is the point. Never letting up is the point. Never being satisfied with what you've done is the point. This is Pat Summitt, who is one of the greatest women's basketball coaches, University of Virginia. To finish is to win. So do the best you can. We're in your corner. We're here to help you. We're here to answer any questions. We'll stay on the line for as long as anybody has questions. If you want to unmute yourself, feel free. I see some great conversations that happened in the chat box. Looks like a lot of those questions were answered, but feel free, just jump out and ask any questions you have.
So one of the people, some of them were asking when they get their car number.
Is that posted? Is the list of entrants posted on the website now, Brad?
I answered that a few times, I think, but it kept kind of coming up in the long chat. If you're a great racer and you're going to Spring Rally, you will get your great race numbers and stickers at Spring Rally at registration. If you're
But
not,
some people don't know actually what their race car number is.
well,
I
they'll
know
get
what the race
that.
car number is.
They'll
Yeah.
get that a few weeks before the race, and it'll be
There you go.
mailed.
But But the mentors have all been given the car numbers for their rookies. So when I sent the emails out, I said your rookie is car number 47 and they're driving a 62 Tornado, whatever it is. So your mentor will know your car number as well.
Great. But your physical
Unless you
stickers will
change
be mailed to you.
Yeah. But if you want to get cool hats and shirts with your number embroidered on them, you want to have time to do that because it's neat.
There you go.
Okay. Any other questions? Feel free. Again, unmute yourself and shout it
So
out.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Sure.
So two questions real quick. Do you, when you do the speed change, come to a sign, travel at 20 miles an hour for 40 seconds, and then go to 35? Do you split that as well? How do you do the speed change there? What's a practical way to do that?
If you're doing a speed change at a sign,
No. Well, so you come to a sign at 20 miles an hour, and then it says
Delete.
1 minute, 30 seconds,
ah,
35 miles an hour.
got it. I usually shave off a couple seconds.
Okay. All right.
So in other words, if it says to hold 20 for a minute and 12 seconds and then go to 35, I will usually back up about 2 seconds beforehand and say, okay, go to 35 now. And it'll be maybe at 1 minute 10 instead of 1 minute 12. So
Okay.
that way you're kind of splitting the sign virtually.
So what she'll do is, as the driver, she's going to tell me, go to the next speed now, which is fine. She'll compensate for the reaction time that it takes to move the pedal, or 3, 2, 1, and then I'll hit it at 1.
Okay. Along the same lines, when you do a stop, what's a practical way how do you count down? Do you do 3, 2, 1, go, or 3, 2, 1, and then the driver knows to proceed?
I will do a full countdown. So if I know that we have a pause of, I'll say, okay, we're coming in at 20, outspeed 35, holding for 9, and rock back 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go 30. And so he knows when the go is and what the speed is.
And as a
And you're-
driver, what I'm doing is looking for cross traffic as she's counting down. So I'm calculating in my mind, am I going to have time to go before this car gets there, or am I going to have to wait until that car goes by? And I'll tell her, keep counting. So she'll go 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, and I go.
And you have the stopwatch going at the same time, right? So you know how long you were stopped.
Right.
It depends on what your technique is. There are, experts and grand champions will have different techniques for timing stops than rookies do. I encourage you just use your performance chart and your time of day clock and just put your finger on your clock and, count down 9, 8, 7, 6 on your time of day clock.
Sometimes you can't leave right away. Sometimes it takes a while before you get a chance to leave that stop sign.
And you may have that finger on that clock and be writing something down in your route instructions at the same time.
Or I know I've got 90 seconds and I see 7 gravel trucks coming. I'll leave early and let her know that we're leaving early, so we're not waiting there longer. These are driver decisions that you make for the circumstances.
Great. Thank you.
Janet,
Sure.
Yes.
when you guys do the tire warm-up speedometer check,
Mhm.
I don't, and I think you probably don't either. You don't give feedback to the driver because you don't want him to adjust his driving
Oh, we're
style.
running early. We're running early. Go faster.
Yeah.
No.
No, as a driver, my best deal of the day is I'm holding that speed exactly where it's supposed to be for the entire amount of time she tells me to do it. That's my job, and I'm going to do that regardless.
And then I will just do the math afterwards to figure out, okay, I'm either going to change the speedometer or I'm going to be making corrections throughout the course of the day.
The question just came up in the chat. How can you tell if you're running early or late? You guys, this is a good one.
Seat of the pants guessing.
Well, actually, I guess that might be in respect to speedometer check, but realistically on the course, you won't know.
You have
You
no
have
idea.
no
You
clue.
have no idea.
You'll come through the day and think you nailed everything.
Yeah.
You are perfect.
I think we got a one early on that one. It's like, okay, that was our second ace. And then you come in and you got an 18-second score. And it's like, what?
Or vice versa. You think, God, that was rough. We did all these corrections, all these time
And
corrections.
they hand you an ace sticker.
And you just laugh at the finish line. It's like, what the hell? I'll take it, but so you don't really know. That's part of the deal.
The only thing that could give you an idea is if there's a restart after a transit and there's a couple of expert or grand champions in front of you and you see what time they leave and you see what time you're leaving. It's like, oh, we're running late. Or we're really early. What happened?
And there have been times when we've adjusted our time based on what those guys did. If we really trust that team and we look at each other and say, what do you think? And say, let's
don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Let's fix it.
Run your own race.
Yeah.
You'll
you don't
learn.
know what you did wrong if you try that. Once you get your score back and you look through your sheets and you can see clue by clue as you go down, you can kind of figure out where you had your problem. You want to learn from that. So as she said, it's better to do that. But we've done it the other way too.
If you're a rookie, and I'm going back many years, long before I had mentors like Steve and Janet here, I ran with stock speedos. I ran with a time wise that I had no idea how to set. There's a lot of things that I did wrong as I was learning. But you learn the kind of hacks to get through this as you're figuring it out. And you're going to learn how to, you may not on your first day figure out how to be perfectly timed and understand how to read all these signs. Don't panic. It's not that big of a deal. Your main thing on your timing as a brand new person doing this, if you're consistently trying to run over the car that's supposed to be ahead of you by a minute, you're probably running fast. Back it up. And if you're on the other side of it, if someone is running you over or you're always kind of seeing somebody in your mirror, well, you're probably running slow. So you can get little checks on yourself throughout the day. If you're on a long stretch and you see the glint of the silver car ahead of you in the distance, if you're not using your stopwatch, get a little mark on them. And you'll see a big hickory tree at the beginning of a bridge. And you can give yourself a little hack along the way. It's not official, it's not exact, but it can give you a little bit of a hint that, okay, maybe we should be running 42 instead of 45 until we figure out how to really get this speedometer set up. And you experiment a little bit. Just
Absolutely.
Some little tips and tricks out there. Again, there are a lot of people that, again, if you just don't get lost, that's where it gets really complicated. Stay on course, learn your instructions. Try not to run over somebody or get run over from behind, and learn. You're going to have a great time. Don't panic.
That's what we say, to stay within your minute. That's what we try to teach the rookies. You've got 30 seconds on either side to play with. If you can finish each leg within your minute, you're doing great.
You're doing phenomenally well. I am famous for passing the same checkpoint 5 times on one race.
We've all done it
early on. So just smile, enjoy yourself. It's, this is great. And everyone will help you, whether they're an expert or not. When the time is right and they sit down and you just put your instructions in, you go, what on earth? They're going to be like, give me that thing. Everyone, this is a family. Everyone's here to make friends. Everyone's here to have a good time. So there's a lot of information here. It's fantastic, fantastic information. It's very advanced. And this is what it takes to win. But you can have a really great time as you learn and as you get up to this.
Our primary concern with what we're doing right now is to give people who have never done it an idea of what they're coming up to. You're not going to remember everything we said here. You're not going to remember everything that's being said on the next rally school, but there will be a next rally school. When you guys get to your start, there will be a rally school. We'll be doing it. Director of competition will be doing it. We'll be going over this material again. We'll be working with you. The best way to learn is if you make a mistake and you come to us and say, or anybody really, is it, what happens when this occurs? when you figure out how to fix something, that'll stick. Uh, Throwing stuff against the wall right now. We're just trying to give you an overview. We'll be covering it again. We'll be there to answer your questions. There's nothing like being out there and say, okay, it's time to go, and get out there and give it a try. But it's depending on, you guys are rookies. Stay in your minute, stay on course. You'll do fine. It'll be great.
If I can jump in real quick, I've got to get offline here in just a minute. I'm Ray, like
Hello, Ray.
rookie,
Hi, Ray.
rookie extraordinaire here. Okay, a lot of
Okay.
the things you were talking about just went okay because I've got to learn. You mentioned a mentor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When will we find out who our mentor is?
You should have received an email. I sent emails to every rookie driver and navigator that was on my spreadsheet. I assigned you a mentor either based on geographical area or time
Similar.
zone. So you should have received an email probably 3 weeks ago, and your mentor should have also received it with your contact information.
Okay, nobody has reached out to me. I'll go back and I'll look, Janet. And then
Okay.
I've got so many questions, and I don't want to take up everybody's time. So would I reach out to my mentor, or can I speak to?
You can email us directly. That's not a problem.
Okay. And I don't know if I got that email, Janet. Can you give me your
Okay.
email address now, or
Yes, absolutely. It's JHEDKE
JHEDKE?
at yahoo.com.
Oh, that's easy.
And it may have gone into your spam. So, look for your spam because it should say your veteran mentors for the 2026 Great Race, and it would have their name and their contact information.
All right, then I will let you guys. I don't want to take up anybody's time. I'll look for that, and then if I got it, I'll look at it, but I'll probably reach out to you by tomorrow.
And it
And I
wasn't
will,
from a Great Race email address. It's from
no,
her
it was
email
from
address.
me. It was from me.
Okay, so it may have gone to my spam, and if it did, I may have passed by it, not realizing. So
It's possible. And the same thing could have happened with your mentors because I would have sent them an email that said your Great Race rookies to mentor. And here's their name. So I will look for both of those emails and I will contact you.
thanks, thank you very much, guys. I got to
Sure, Ray,
run.
we'll take care of you.
I'll talk to you all soon, and thank you so much.
You're
Fantastic
welcome.
presentation. Thank you very much.
And
Sure.
we still got 70 people on the call. So again, as long as you
We'll be
want
here
to
a
ask
while.
questions, we're here.
Your questions may be the same that some other folks have. You got one that's really burning on you right now?
Yeah, you're on mute. Ray, you're on mute.
Oh, Ray, hang
Sorry
on.
about that. I didn't realize it was back on mute. I've got so many, and I don't want to tear up everybody's time. And I'm a single dad, so I've got a little girl to get into bed. So got to run.
Okay,
Take care of her first.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
you
y'all.
bet.
Take care.
We'll be in touch.
The question came up again on chat. When will you get your car numbers? If you're going to the spring rally, you'll get them there. And otherwise, it sounds like this year they're at registration and not being mailed, correct?
We are mailing them.
Oh,
You will
okay.
pick them up at Spring Rally if you're also doing Great Race. If you're just doing Great Race, they'll be mailed after Spring Rally. So the first couple of weeks of May, you should receive them.
Perfect.
But I think that there's a distinction between are they asking about their stickers that go on their car that have their car number on it, or are they just asking what is my car number going to be? So I know
No,
that I'm car number
this one
45.
was just about the decals, the car
Okay.
number decals and sponsor details.
Okay. Yeah. If you just want to know what your car number is going to be so that you can go ahead and have it embroidered on shirts and hats and stuff, I have a master list that has that. When I sent out the emails to the mentors, it gave your car number to your mentors. So if you just want to know, oh yeah, I'm car number 137, Marilyn, uh, then your mentor can tell you, or I can.
Janet, what was their email address that you sent out? I'm still looking through my emails to try to find it.
Just put it in.
She'll put it in the chat.
Okay. I'll look in chat.
Next question. Got to be one.
Yeah, I'm going back through the chat too. And by the way, when it completes, you guys will get a little pop-up message when you end Zoom, and all the chat will be as a text file too that you guys can have there.
Excellent.
And then that other AI thing will have a lot of information, including the dialogue.
Did I also mention a way to protect the windshield? Huh.
Well, we've lost a windshield on Route 66 when
Well,
we
it
did it
was-
last
it
time.
was-
It was a chip, but it still
But
had
still.
to be fixed. I'm not aware of a film that goes over the windshield to protect it from rocks and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
there is, but it's problematic. It's not cheap, and we probably won't be using wipers. But you know what? If you're if you're really worried about it, Clear Bra will work on it, but you're not gonna. It's gonna be a bit opaque.
I will say also that I've been an insurance guy for a million years, and you're driving on public roads, you are driving at or below a posted speed everywhere you go.
True.
Our competition is built on timing and not going fast. So you don't have to carry special insurance to run Great Race, as everyone probably knows. You just have to have regular coverage. So if you get a windshield chip doing Great Race, it shouldn't be any different to get it fixed per your normal insurance rules if that
Yeah.
if that would apply. There's no
We did.
exclusion for doing Great Race because of
yeah,
And it just happened, it was thrown up by a truck passing us on old Route 66.
it's a gravel truck. What are the chances?
yeah.
So I have a
But
question
everybody
about.
should be aware that the race can be hard on the car. Part of the endurance portion of this is what the car has to go through. Do everything you can to make sure that your car is reliable and everything's like windshield wiper blades. I change them every year. I don't use them in California. I use them on Great Race. And Springfield, yeah, we could get some rain. But I will say that we did go through Tucumcari, which is on the race route this year. A couple of years ago, we saw two tornadoes on the ground and two 18-wheelers that were blown over on their side. It would have been on the race course. And the director of competition will pull his crews back into their cars if there's lightning on the ground. But if it's raining, we're still racing. And you could have a situation where a third of the course is fighting the rain, and 2/3 of the course it's sunny and clear, and that is luck of the draw.
Welcome to Great Race.
Yeah, welcome to Great Race.
Yeah.
Stories to tell.
I have two questions. The new 55-mile-an-hour speed, is that going to be on course and in tire warm-up and in transit times?
That's you, Brad.
I can just tell you that where this competition would have gone up to 50, it could go up to 55 now. So yes, it could be on a tire warm-up calibration, it could be on a transit, could be on the clock. You can expect that you should have a car that'll go 55. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For an hour straight if necessary.
Yeah,
Uphill.
poor driver.
I did 50 all across South Dakota one year. That was memorable.
Yeah. And
And
48 is another good one.
What is going to be the maximum distance before we can fuel?
That's
generally-
that's pretty broken up. I'd say 100 miles would be on the outside. The Hudson had a 20-gallon tank, and we probably got 12 miles per gallon in the thing, and never had a problem. I think
Doesn't the regulations say that you should have a range of 200 miles?
I think
Just in case.
That's probably fair. I would also say every time there's an opportunity to get fuel, you should top up. Why
Even if it's
risk
just
it?
a couple of gallons.
Yeah, even especially if you're going in places like Route 66, if you have a car that takes premium fuel, we've been in some situations where we go through a little tiny town that they don't sell a lot of high test, and you may get a load of weird watery fuel. Look, it happens. We carry octane booster. We carry heat. the stuff that can separate water from fuel. I mean, you really do need to be sort of prepared for whatever may happen in some of these really out of the way areas that we like to rally in. So,
And we will be going into the Southwest where E10 is your only choice. If you have a car that likes to vapor lock on ethanol, uh, deal with that now. Because everything from Arizona in will be E10 on hot weather.
yeah, wrap your fuel lines in, there's a lot of heat resistant foil sort of stuff. Keep everything cool off your exhaust manifolds where possible. Keep yourself cool. Block your heat from getting in the car if you want to, if there's some special way to do it. I will tell you, and I've raced in a lot of different types of cars. And points, if you have a points distributor, if you've got a Pertronix, carry another one of those little doohickeys with you because they fail. I've seen it happen more times than I can count, and I run them. I like them. And a coil. Carry a coil because you would not believe how many times I or a lot of other people have had a coil go. And for the first
On
few
the last
miles,
day, on the last leg.
yeah, and you're chasing, is that a fuel problem? Is that an ignition problem? You don't really know for a few minutes, and it adds a lot of self-doubt. Just bring a coil for your car and throw it in. And again, I've seen that solve a lot of problems.
You're right.
But you got to know your car, know your equipment, put a few hundred miles on it before you hit the course. Torture test it.
Practice driving the speed and holding the speed.
And doing your performance chart will give you time to ring out the car as well. And also,
Yeah, don't show up without one. Don't expect someone to just hand you one because your car's like theirs.
the thing I would add is that because of the 55-mile-an-hour minimum speed this year, if you've got a Model A Ford, I would go out and run it on a hill and see if you can hold 50 or 55 on a grade. And if you can't, you need to figure out what speed you can hold, which might be 10% down, so you can calculate how much you have to make up on the other side. The every car is different. Every car has a different performance capability. Some cars are geared real low, which that won't be a problem. Some cars have overdrive, which you may or may not need. Sometimes that doesn't help you at all. Got to know your car. The more you drive it, the more you'll know.
Yeah, a non-synchronized transmission, if you're running a car with a very basic 3-speed or so, you may be holding a perfect gear to hold yourself down a perfect speed down a hill and to keep yourself off the brakes. But as soon as there may be something else that changes at the next instruction or over the next hill, you may not be able to go down another gear to slow to go up. You just have to know what's going on. The Hudson's that way. If I'm committed, if I put a lot of load on that, I've got to be ready for whatever I think the next thing's going to be. And the driver is always looking at the speed and looking at the road ahead, trying to figure out and anticipate what they may need while the
Yeah.
navigator is doing the work on the clipboard and the
If you're a driver of a low-powered car and you see a hill coming up, don't wait till you hit the hill before you hit the gas.
right.
Start speeding up before you get to that hill.
The question came up, are Brandon's performance charts different? Well, they're not made. You make them from his spreadsheet.
Yeah, everything is individual.
People try to use other people's performance charts. If you find a car that's similar to yours, the performance chart may be in the ballpark, but drivers drive differently, cars run differently. Every performance chart reflects both the driver's techniques and what that particular car can do. That's why we encourage you to go out and make your own performance chart. Otherwise, if you get to the race and you don't have a performance chart, you have to borrow somebody else's, you will not do well.
But Brandon has created a tool. So what he's done is he's given you the structure within an Excel spreadsheet that if you go out and you run those different speeds, like we explained, the driving straight through at speed and then starting from a stop or going to a stop, and finding what those numbers are, each one of those speeds, then you can input them into Brandon's tool, and that will create the chart for you. So you put in all of the inputs that you have gathered, and then it will generate your actual chart, and you'll just print it out. But you've got to do the work to come up with those numbers to put in the tool. This is a tool I think that he just created this last year. So I looked over it. It's fabulous. So I highly recommend it.
What else we got out there?
You've got 53 people that are sitting going,
Brains are fried, smoke coming out of here.
It's 10:30 at night.
You know what we do at night now. We all go in the parking lot and we drink beer and we fix each other's cars. It's really it could be the most fun that you have all day. It depends on what the weather's been.
Do the decals first so they're not crooked.
Yeah.
We call it therapy. So it's like, okay, do you want white therapy tonight or do you want red therapy?
That's right.
Red, please.
We have changed engines in cars in the parking lot. We have changed
transmissions.
Everybody. And I will tell you, this community pitches in. So if you've got a problem and you need an axle or a U-joint or a whatever, if somebody has one, they're going to help. They're going to help you. And quite frankly, it's the most fun part of all of this over the years is the friends that you make in the parking lot, commiserating about what a disaster it was or how great it was as you're all trying to help each other get ready for that next day.
Or you'll come into the gate at the end of the night and you'll announce, we have a 1954 Packard and we just lost our starter. Does anybody have a starter for a 1954 Packard? And there will be a guy in the crowd that says, I've got one in my garage, I'll bring it in. Or bring it over to my garage and I'll put it in for you.
Cape Girardeau.
It's amazing what you will find just at the finish gate at the
there was a guy that had an automotive electric shop within 2 blocks of the place. All we had to do was push start the car to get it up to his shop. He rewound the starter while we were there and the car was ready to go the next morning.
Yeah, it's a great community, and you're all car people. You're all interested in this hobby, or you wouldn't be here. And you've probably experienced this in other ways before you got here. It's no different. It's amazing. I saw a message about how many rookies. We covered that earlier, but it's about 50 rookie teams, so 100 people, and we have
100 new family members.
156 teams or something like that at the moment. Which is a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Typically, by this time, we'll have a lot of people that have said, oh, my car is not going to make it, or hey, push me to next year. Route 66 has been the siren call off in the distance, and nobody's getting out of it. So it's really exciting. We have a very, very full field. It's very, very cool.
And we're likely to run into other tour groups where we're on Route 66. That time of year, people will travel from foreign countries and rent Harley Davidsons to ride up Route 66 in black leathers in the middle of summer. And, chances
you think we're crazy.
Yeah. Chances are pretty good we'll run across a few of those guys too. It'll be a Ferrari that's stopped on the side of the road overheating and we'll pass him in our Studebaker and smile and wave and honk at him. That kind of thing. There's going to be all kinds of things going on Route 66 this year.
You're going to make memories. You'll have lots of great stories.
Yeah, it's the best. All right, well, look, it's 9:30 Eastern time anyway, my time. We're down to 27 or 28 people. Are there any other questions?
I'm still seeing 47 up there.
So 29.
46.
Yeah. People love listening to us. I don't know why.
Well, they may have fallen asleep.
That's true. All right. Go home.
Oh, I see. That was wrong. That was in the chat. My apologies.
Yeah, there could be people that are just embarrassed to ask their question in front of other people.
I'll wait till everybody else drops off and then I'll ask.
Yeah. We're around.
What happens if you have to go to the bathroom and it isn't on the chart?
Well, I can explain that.
You go very quickly.
Old guys I've learned that there is special equipment for older folks who might have a incontinence issue during the race. I found a system that works well for me. I know a couple of other drivers have got systems that work well for them, truckers' friends and those kinds of things.
Worst case, the navigator has a stopwatch and it's like, okay, we're pulling over, run over, there's a tree.
You do what you have to do.
All right, we're down a
No
minute and a
time
half.
Let's
go.
Yeah,
No time
you
allowance for
can't
that.
file that, but you should be able to.
But you should be able to make it up.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, this has been fun. Thank you for all of you who have stuck with us and listened to us trying to stumble through everything. You don't learn it all at once. We're still learning things after
25 years.
25 years we've been doing this now. We started out thinking this would be a one and done deal, and it didn't work out that way. So, yeah, just come into it with the attitude that we're going to have fun, we're going to learn how to do it, and we're going to just get out there and get after it. You know, it'll be interesting. There's always stories to come back with.
And thanks for the veterans that logged on that have done this before. Just we appreciate your confidence and your support.
Yes, very much so.
Great.
All right.
Thank you,
Well,
everyone.
the man's
Open
been great.
dialogue. Anybody has questions, continue to feed them in to Steve and Janet or through the website or the blogs. Any which way we could answer questions for, we're all happy to.
Right.
All right.
Janet,
We will see you in one Springfield or another.